Remember my name and all I became. The fortune and fame from shackles and chains. My spirit won't break. Never let.
Your content, your message, and your story has the power to impact lives and change the world. And we are going to unpack that on today's episode. What's up, guys? Welcome to another episode of the Triumph of Life podcast. I am your host, Nicholas Trevelyan, and you know me as Coach Nicky T. Today, we're going to unpack how your content, who you are online, on social media, and how you show up to the world can impact the world and change lives. And I truly mean this. But I want to start today's episode with a quote that's near and dear to me. This quote is something that I use as a measuring stick for my life, for my content, for my business. It's from Waldo Emerson. Check it out, guys. To know even one life has breathed easier because you have lived. This is to have succeeded. To know that one person out there's life is better because of you, because of a video that you shared, a reel, a TikTok, a piece of content, an email, a podcast episode. This is, to me, why we're here. This is, to me, what being a content creator, an impact-driven content creator, is all about. And I can only say this now, years later, as the stories come out. And I want to just explain this to you, whether you're early on in your content creation or you're trying to make a change in your brand, in your messaging. The content that you create, the posts that you do, the quotes you share, the examples, the stories, the life lessons, all the above. I want to explain to you the gravity of what you have. There is somebody out there right now that is struggling with the same problem that you've already solved or are actively solving. Let me use a very simple analogy for you. Let's say you used to be overweight and you went on this journey. You learned keto or paleo or the carnivore, whatever diet you did. You learned a certain workout regimen and you went and lost 50 pounds and you feel better. Are you somebody that could help that person? I want you to look at it this way. No matter what you do, no matter what you've been through in your life, odds are there's something that you've achieved, a lesson that you've learned the hard way that you wish somebody like you would have shared the advice with you before you started that journey. So again, back to that fitness analogy, let's say I want you to describe what it was like to be you 6 months ago or 12 months ago before you had lost that weight. Again, just a simple analogy for you guys. Would you 6 months ago or 12 months ago wanting to lose all that weight, you know, the fear, the anxiety, being embarrassed, going to the pool? Again, guys, this is just an example. I want you to follow me here. How far would one video go to help that person 6 months ago, 12 months ago? You know, maybe you're early on in your path of entrepreneurship. Maybe you consume content like that from gurus or, qualified business owners. What do you wish that they would teach you? And maybe you've learned a lot of stuff like that. You know, for me, I've learned a lot from Alex Hormozi or Gary Vee, Andy Frisella, Ed Milet, Tony Robbins, just from a clip, just from a 2-minute video, a 20-minute podcast episode, a 45-minute YouTube video has truly changed my life. And I look at some of those episodes that I've listened to, and I wonder where I'd be without them passionately, authentically sharing that content. I have learned more from free content on YouTube, TikTok, and Instagram than I had from college, from so much book, like even a book, as much as I'm the book guy, books are great, but even that, like a video, a piece of content, somebody's heart and passion, a speech from stage recorded has the power to change your life. And I want you to think about this as you record your own content. As you record content to the world, what lessons have you learned that somebody could benefit from? Even if you're on the come up, could you share things that you're actively working on? See, we think we have to be at the top of the mountain. No, you don't. Can you invite somebody to join you on the journey of entrepreneurship, on starting your side hustle, the journey of losing your first 25 pounds, the journey of working on your relationships or working on your health, working on cold plunging, working on your morning routines? You can invite people on this journey and share with them the lessons that you're learning. Ed Milet said this: you are better served to help the person that you used to be. So for me, guys, as a business coach, I teach young 20-year-old me starting his first company, opening his first brick and mortar, starting his first LLC. So when I teach, I wish Young me at 20 knew the power of content today. So when I record content, when I teach a lesson, when I go on stage, oftentimes I talk to that young kid, broke, terrified, in a mountain of debt, not knowing how to hire, not knowing what a sales funnel is, not knowing what email marketing is. So if you go through any of my content, you'll see that my content is very authentic. It's very real. It's very pointed. It all has a purpose, and it's all meant to make an impact. Why? I produce content for a solopreneur out there, just like I was when I was 20, that hadn't hired his first assistant yet, didn't know a lot about branding, didn't know the power of a podcast or writing a book or email marketing or a sales funnel. So I talk about this. Unapologetically and passionately, I talk about this on my email list, on my Instagram, on here on the podcast, because I believe that young man could be listening to this show. And if I was 20 and I had me in my life, holy crap, would I have been farther ahead? And how do I know that? Because today, no matter what I've done in life, I still consume content on a daily basis from the people I look up to. I still learn from those gurus in the game. Like I said, like a Gary Vee, like a Hormozi, like a Grant Cardone. I follow their stuff. I mimic, I model their stuff. So I am better because of their content. My life has been impacted because they chose to produce content and share that online. Somebody's life is better because you produce content that is real, that is genuine, that helps solve a problem, that teaches a point, that shares a lesson learned. Your story matters. The things you've been through in your life, they matter, but it's up to you to share it. See, here's the thing that I understand that I want to share with you now. I've shared content that months later, somebody maybe didn't like it or comment on it, months later would make me a comment or DM me or reach out to me and say, holy crap, that video changed my life. Thank you. I had this really beautiful experience happen. A gal started following me on TikTok, and for me, it was just another video, wasn't paying much attention to it, and I was talking about the power of changing your life in 30, 60, 90 days. Well, I guess that video meant a lot to her. She didn't comment, didn't like it, didn't know who she was. 90 days later, 90 days to the day, I get a comment on my newest video, and she said, Nick, you don't know me, but 90 days ago, you put out a video about how you can change your life in 30, 60, and 90 days. I put this date on the calendar to see how far my life would be changed in 90 days and how different it would be. She said, today, 90 days later, I am an actress who chased my dreams. I now live in Los Angeles, chasing my dreams. I'm acting full time. This is everything that I said I wanted to do 90 days ago. I'm doing it today. And today the reminder popped up on my phone. Thank you for that spark of inspiration. Now, did she do the work? Of course. That was a 1-2 minute video that made a small impact in her life. Maybe she needed a little pick me up in the morning. Maybe she needed a little help. And I want you to look at your content as such. See, I don't produce content for content's sake. I produce content to make an impact in somebody's lives. And when you make an impact in somebody's life, guess what? They want to learn more about how you can help them. If you want the ultimate marketing strategy to grow your business, share badass tips, heartfelt content that genuinely helps them, and then invite them to learn more. Now, you might be saying, hey, Nick, I'm not in that sexy of a business. Maybe I'm in real estate or mortgage or like a service guy. That's fine. Does that content change the world? Probably not, right? Maybe helping somebody buy a home or doing their AC unit. Yeah, that helps their home. But could you start documenting your journey as an entrepreneur, your journey as a single mom in entrepreneurship, your journey as a kid from a trailer park on the come up? Could you document that journey? Absolutely. And could that story help somebody's life? 1,000%. See, I can look at your life right now, and I promise you, there's things that you've done in your life that were great decisions that worked out well for you. Share them. There's also things that you've done in your life that I know I've done in my life that are huge mistakes, that are lessons learned, that when you had the fork in the road, you chose one road instead of the other, and it backfired on you, right? You ran into a big bear or Bigfoot. And I wish somebody would have told me to avoid that pitfall. That's why I produce content. And could you produce content as such? Yes. Could you produce content that genuinely helps people? Now, what would that do to your brand? Well, when you produce content that's true and genuine and helps people, you're making an impact. You're helping their lives. You're touching them, right? Then what do they want to do? They want to follow you, or they want to share your content with other people. If you want to build a brand, that's how. Help people. Not this crazy magic formula. Just be an awesome person that genuinely wants to serve and wants to help. See, for me, guys, back to that quote, to know even one life has breathed easier because you have lived. This is to have succeeded. That's why I produce content. That's why I have this show. That's why I help people write books and start their own podcasts, because I know this. Today, no matter what you do, whether you're a single mom, whether you're somebody that has lost weight, whether you're a business owner that succeeded, no matter what you have done amazing in your life, give yourself credit for that. Congratulations. There is 10,000, 100,000, a million, 10 million people right now that are hurting and struggling and need help in the area that you've already done something in. Let that sink in. Let's say, for example, you've been able to make 6 figures in your business. Awesome. Do you know the majority of people that will never make 6 figures in their business? What's it? Less than 10% will ever make 6 figures in their business. 95% of businesses fail within the first, 95% of businesses don't even make it 5 years. Only 5% make it to the 5-year mark. And of those 5%, a lot of them aren't making 100 grand. What if you started sharing that journey? And you might not feel like you're worthy and you're not at that Millie Billy status yet. But somebody that is at 30 grand trying to get to 100, you are their hero. Speak to the person you used to be. Speak to the person that you know that you can help. See, the idea is this. You don't have to be perfect to start helping other people. You don't. See, I used to think this, that I had to be at Grant Cardone status and rolling in and out of helicopters and jets and billies and all this shit. And then I realized one thing. I'm helping 20-year-old me who was just starting out his career, who didn't know what email marketing was, who didn't know the power of branding or a book or a podcast or content or a reel. I didn't know what a sales funnel was, who didn't know how to build an authority brand. So all I do is I help him. Because am I better served to help him? You absolutely believe that. Maybe you're a single mom that, had a pretty crappy, divorce, and you've been able to provide for 2 babies on your own. What do you think that there are a million other moms just like you that need hope, need inspiration, need your tips and strategies, or building a side hustle or working from home? You name it. I can find so many things that you've probably done amazing at. Give yourself credit today and own that. Own that you've been through something in your life. If you've been through something dramatic and had to pull yourself up from your bootstraps, or had to go through this crazy challenge, or face this level of adversity, and you got to the other side, you got to the top of the mountain, you are better served to help somebody that's at the bottom of that mountain. But more importantly, it's your effing duty to share that. That's the last thing I want to leave you with. If you've achieved something in your life, your voice, your story, your lessons learned, your victory has the power to change and save that person's life. Let that sink in. Every post, every reel, you don't know who needs to hear that on the other end. Had a crazy story happen to me a few years back. I started producing content and videos and just being passionate about things that I had learned, depression and entrepreneurship and overcoming a huge, crazy setback in my life. My surgery had a tumor on my spine. I was paralyzed from the waist down. I talked about job changes and chasing your dreams and moving and leaving your family. I talked about all this stuff on my podcast and on my videos. Well, anyway, I produced this video that talked about, hey, it's okay. It's okay to be depressed. And I had just shared, it's okay to not be okay. It was really what the video was all about. A day goes by and I get a DM from a gentleman. I knew who he was kind of in passing, but I didn't really know who he was. He followed me on Facebook and Instagram. I get a DM from him and he's in a hospital gown, and it's a video of him, very grainy video of him in the emergency room, in the holding tank, there in the where the sheets and curtains are. And he said, Nick, I watched that video you posted yesterday about it's okay to not be okay. And he goes, I wasn't okay yesterday. And I had actually written the letter to my family saying goodbye. And I had loaded the pistol and I had the whiskey. And I was just waiting for the right time for me to pull the trigger and end everything. He goes, and I don't know if it was God, the universe, divine intervention, but your video popped up and you, a strong person that I look up to, was talking about your own depression and how it's not okay to be, it's okay to not be okay. And he's like, you owned it. You were vulnerable about it. You lifted up your Komodo. You gave me permission to own my feelings as a man and to not feel like a success. And it's okay to feel like a failure. It's okay to start over. He goes, I had all of those emotions, feeling like a shitty husband and a shitty father and da-da-da-da-da, so I was ready to end everything. And he goes, something gave me the strength in your video, and I listened to it a few times. I just drove to the hospital because I knew that if I checked myself into the hospital, I would be safe here, and it would give me time to get help. Thank you for that video. That video took me 2 minutes to record. It was just another piece of content. For me, I didn't understand the power that your voice has until that video, and why I'm sharing this very deep and heartfelt episode with you today. See, what would have happened if I didn't produce that video? I don't know. I don't know, and I don't want to know. And I never would have heard about it. Would have just been a story or a newspaper article or, something that was a post on Facebook that maybe I missed. But because I produced that video, his life has been impacted because of my story and my journey and my vulnerability and my dedication to create heartfelt content and content that makes an impact in this world. For those that can't see me, if you're on the audio version right now, I'm wearing this sweatshirt that says impact. And I wear this multiple times per week to remind myself what my mission is and to remind you of what your mission should be and could be, regardless of what you do. By you documenting your story, your life, your lessons, your experiences, your successes, your failures, and all of the above, you not only build your brand, which is amazing, different story, different day. Go back and listen to the previous episodes. It not only helps you get authority in the marketplace and be seen as not only an influencer, I think that's the stupidest term, but somebody that can help people in business, right? Or in life or in fitness and what you do in your craft. There's the other side of your content where lives are touched and lives are changed because of your content. If you're afraid to share it, you probably should share it. If you're still listening to me and you've been wanting to start a podcast, this is your sign to start the podcast. If you're listening to me and you've been wanting to write that book and tell your story, this is your sign that it's time to write the book. If you've been wanting to produce more video on social media, this is a sign to start real, authentic, genuine content and share it. Because you don't know how many people out there need to hear your voice, need to hear your story. I believe that your story matters. I believe every experience that you've had in life matters, and it's up to you whether you choose to use that for good and share it and change the world and use a podcast and a platform to get your voice out there, or you to hold that inside. Les Brown says this: the graveyard obviously is the richest place on the planet. But how many ideas and dreams and books and podcasts and online courses went to the grave with that person? Don't be that person. Yeah, is it scary? Of course. Is it take you to be vulnerable? Of course. Am I being real and vulnerable on this show? Yes. But I'll tell you what, somebody's life is going to be impacted because of this episode, and that's all that matters. To know that somebody's life has breathed easier because I have lived and I have produced my content. To me, that is to have succeeded. To me, that's the measuring stick for success. You go brag about your houses and your cars and all that shit, that's fine. I'll brag about the lives that I've touched, the lives that I've helped, the people that I've helped make an impact, the people, more importantly, that I've inspired to share their message, to start a podcast, to write a book, to produce more content. See, the way that I see this in summary is if you get inspired to go produce content, I can not only inspire you, but then you can go help 100,000 people, 10,000 people, 1,000,000 people. And together, you and I can help make an impact and change the world. So let me leave you with this. Grab a scratch piece of paper and jot down. What are 5 things you wish you knew before you achieved X? Before you started that journey, before you had that transformation, before you solved your problem, before you got out of that shit, right? I believe you can turn your mess that you used to have into your mission, and that pain of your past into the purpose and passion of your future. List out what it was like. Remember that. I know you remember that because you have those scars. Physically, emotionally, right? I got the scars, right? I got a freaking scar down the middle of my back that reminds me what a tumor and what being paralyzed was and what the ICU was like. I have a scar that I remember that on a daily basis. So I can create content for him 5 years ago. I can remember what it was like to be broke, to beg people for money, to go into debt, to feel like a failure. Oh, I know what that was like. I know what that was like to not know where my next client was coming from, where my next lead was coming from, how to produce content. I remember all of that. So for me, I can list that out and use that as content today to fuel me. You want to overcome imposter syndrome? Just talk about things that you've done. Nobody can take that away from you. Nobody can take away your transformation of you becoming a stay-at-home mom and building a side hustle. Nobody can take that away from you. Nobody can take away your fitness journey, your weight loss journey, your health journey. Nobody can take that away from you. Nobody can take away the lessons you've learned or the numbers you've built in business. It's so funny. Our new book came out, Scale, 8 Phases to Build an 8-Figure Business. And it's funny. I got like imposter syndrome. Here it is for those on the camera. You can see the book. I got like imposter syndrome when the book launched. We launched it at my conference with there was 450 people there when I launched my book, and I was still feeling like an imposter walking on stage holding a book that said 8 phases to an 8-figure business. And then one of the chapters in it, I go, well, as the numbers show and the receipts show, I've actually made over 8 figures in my real estate business. And it's so funny. No matter what you say, you can't take that away from me because I have receipts. I have the QuickBooks. I have the stats to prove it, right? You have proof and receipts of the things that you've done in your life, whether that's a tangible number of weight loss, bank account, follower count, sales stats, whatever, or an emotional count of I did this in my life as well. Never forget that story of you rebuilding, fixing that mess, overcoming that pain, accomplishing that goal, hiking that mountain. You see what I'm saying? Accomplishing that thing, that mountain in your life. You are better served to help somebody who's struggling with that right now. But it's up to you to produce the content to help them. You are one video away from changing somebody's life. You are one podcast away from changing somebody's life. You're one chapter of your book or book away from changing somebody's life. One post, one reel, one video. Insert the thing. You are that close to changing somebody's life. Your content matters. Your story matters. And it can change lives and impact this world. I hope you've learned something from today's episode. If you have, please share this with a friend. I love you. I believe in you. Share your story. We'll see you on the next one.
Remember my name.